let's just dive into it, shall we? Good morning, Jace. Thanks for the 14 months. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. All right, we're kicking off today with something rather marvelous here. Aetherworks Marvel, Scourge of Standard was eventually banned. We have Legendary Artifact. Whenever a permanent you control is put into a graveyard, you get an energy. And you can tap it and pay 6 energy to look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can cast a card from among them without paying its mana cost. And you put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So, the way we've got this deck built, we're a pseudo ramp deck with both Servant of the Conduit and Chandra Torch of Defiance. And half of our threats that we're spinning to try and get into Marvel here are Ugin the Spirit Dragon, which is enough, I think, to win most games of Pioneer. And the nice thing about this is, especially with Chandra and Servant of the Conduit, this is an 8 mana card that we can probably realistically cast. We've also got a pair of Emrakuls and Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger here, which are bigger top end that are more difficult to cast, but not impossible. Someone made a sarcastic question about Teferi. We have cards that can attack Teferi, as well as some Fries in the sideboard and some Mystic Disputes that can counter it. So we're not just dead to that card. However, it is worth noting that Teferi does prevent Aetherworks Marvel from casting a card. So that is in fact how Magic the Gathering works. So let's dive into a league with this one and see how it goes. I honestly would not be surprised if this archetype is not competitive in this format. I think this style of deck and these energy decks in general are a good example of the power level of cards being contextual to the format in which they exist. I think if you look at what this deck is doing, we don't really have that many cards that weren't legal for the standard deck, because these heavily synergy-based decks that came from their standard formats don't have a lot of room to add new cards to get better, because you have to have so many energy cards to make the core of your deck work. So the only real change from standard is that we're trying Ugin as a top-end threat instead of just Ulamogs and Emrakuls. The decks with the high win rates before Oko was banned were like literally just standard decks. They were literally just standard decks people were playing in Pioneer. So, Woodweaver's Puzzleknot here gains us 3 life and makes 3 energy when it comes into play and when it dies. So, if we find an untapped land here, we're actually going to get to go crack this on 3, play and spin Marvel on 4. Opponent probably playing the Soul Flayer deck. Yes, the power level of the current standard format is very, very high, to say the least. It was the standard food deck, basically, the ones that were doing well, with more mana dorks, because there's 8 land war elves you can play in this format, or 8 elvish mystics. Hey, thanks for the 20 months, Cajun Guy. I appreciate you keeping me around so I can be here doing it. Alright, any untapped land, please. Ding. It's definitely my currently my favorite format too. Right? And Chandra's pretty sweet here, right? She's a decent hit. I get to do her, and like, she's not like a game-ending card, but she's not a miss, right? Because I get to, with the Puzzleknot here, I get to spin the Marvel again next turn. Thank you for the continued absurd level of support, Paula. I appreciate the tier 3. Welcome back. 21 months is a long time. Mike, thanks for the 6 months. I appreciate the half a year. Opponent's actually playing an archetype that we've got pretty close to the top of the queue. Looking forward to taking a crack at it at some point. That's so super unfortunate. Just like the very next card was a big hit. Yeah, this is how the deck works, right? Basically. So we need 2 more lands to play Ugin. We need 2 more energy to spin this again. Both those effects are instant speed, so we should have spun before drawing. It's statistically insignificant. It doesn't, statistically speaking, it doesn't matter if we do it before or after. Like, you're not more likely to hit Ugin before drawing. We can't know that the top card of our deck is a thing. I think the people who are looking at this game where I've been unlucky and like are trying to solve the issue of drawing these cards are focusing on the wrong thing. Instead of focusing on trying to minimize when you're unlucky, I'd recommend just not being unlucky. Would be my recommendation. Think people are knee-jerk. This is people recommending changes to our deck right now is definitely peak Twitch chat. It's, you don't make changes to your deck for statistically unlikely situations. You will make your decks worse on average making changes like that. I'm actually not going to pay any energy here. I'm actually just going to pay 0. I'm just using this to gain 3 energy. Spin this. Looking for an Ugin. That one right there. Okay, so I have to click, choose a card. I hit OK. And then I have to click on it to cast it. God, the interface for this card is so rancid. I mean, if they have another Soul Flare in their hand, they're still in this game, right? Like, they discarded a bunch of cards there, so they could have another Soul Flare in their hand. Yeah, they just found a Soul Flare here. And I just put an Ugin on the bottom of my deck, so like this Soul Flare is pretty likely to kill us. Yeah, probably did here. Guess we've got a few turns, but no, I could hit an Attune with the Aether shuffles my deck. I'm also, like, at 22 currently. So, like, there's that as well. I am still very sick. But I'm here. So I've got that going for me. Yeah, if we find a basic land here or an Aether Hub. Alright, if this finds an Attune with the Aether, we could shuffle our deck and then find an Ugin. Close. Harness Lightning seems kind of bad here. I think I'll take my extra hit because they're not always going to have Hexproof on their thing. And Disdainful Stroke counter Soul Flare. Seems like pretty easy swap out here. People who are not new, I'm just giving you breaks here. When I have sick, I don't have time to spoon feed you. Not gonna tolerate it. If you wanna suggest a card, don't make me tell you why your card is bad. Tell me why your card is good. If you want to make a suggestion about my mana base, do the math and present your argument with math. Please, please, and thank you. No, we did not. If you're ever wondering about what got played or what not, if you see something listed that then doesn't show up on YouTube, you can always check the deck queue and see that stuff is still in there. Standard just really sucked yesterday. I'm gonna be kind of conservative about what standard decks I accept. The format has not been fun. Thanks for the entire year of support, Solaire. I appreciate that. Welcome back. We got you, Dr. Kitty. The only math I do is counting bits. Good use of the whale emote. Clap, clap. Yeah, this current standard format feels... Was that a good draw, chat? Was that a good draw? For those of you taking notes at home, you'll note that we cleverly left the card we didn't want them to discard on top of our deck. Hashtag skill game. Hopefully they don't have a trophy here. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's the Drew Soul Flare. This current standard format feels like a really good example of just because a lot of decks are competitive doesn't mean a format is good. Definitely not a huge fan of where standard is at currently. I think there's a lot of decks that are competitive in the current standard format, and most of the play patterns of them just suck. And that's super subjective. So like if you are enjoying standard in its current iteration, more power to you. Don't let my lack of enjoyment stifle you personally, but I'd prefer a format that does not have the play patterns that we're currently experiencing. So I waited to spin Marvel this time, because if I get an Ulamog, I don't want them to be able to attack it. If I get an Ugin, I don't want them to be able to attack it down. And if I get an Ulamog, I want to be able to exile their Soul Flare here. Yeah, I've been enjoying Historic. We're going to play some Historic today. Got a few standard decks left in the queue. I do have to find a standard deck I like for the, what's it called? For the event next month for the MCQ, but playing tier 2 decks in the current standard format has not been good. I'm just like, the decks that are good are just much better. All right, should we just grab Ugin here? Keep forgetting to cancel Prime, but if I have a sub, this is where it'll go. Well, thanks for sending it for the third month this way. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Huh? I'm going to attack them with the Servant of the Conduit before I exile everything. Because if they block this, I get an energy. So, like, this gives them 4 life, but it gives me an energy. Because this doesn't trigger when I exile my stuff. And, like, getting an energy there is valuable. Because it means Attune with the Aether and Rogue Refiner and another Servant all give me an extra spin here. Obviously, losing a potential mana when I drew an Ugin the Spirit Dragon feels bad, but I think it's correct to try and cash that in for an energy or 2 points of damage. Rad Tomato, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I agree, Solera. I don't know. We get 1-day shipping on some stuff too at Amazon with Prime now. No immediate follow-up. Soul Flare here is so good for us. Yes, the fact that Ugin doesn't exile Marvel is phenomenal. Fantastical. What's my most fun deck out modern for Pioneer? Blue-Red, I think Blue-Red Eldrazi is great. I think that deck's still very good. I would like this Squid Mama, please. So we get to control their next turn. Assuming they don't concede. So they're going to get 2 turns in a row, but we're going to control one of them. Garbage time doesn't last very long with this deck. Can you look at their sideboard while controlling them? I don't believe so. Oh, you totally can. Sick. Does it show our sideboard too here? It shows our sideboard too here, which is kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Alright, so I get to shock this in. I get to pay some extra life here. I get to cast the Soul Flare and intentionally delve bad cards. Have a vanilla 4/4. No, IRL you can look at, because as a player, you're allowed to look at your sideboard at any point during a match. So you can just look at you can look at the sideboard when you're controlling a player. If they don't want you to look at their sideboard, they have to concede in response. No, this is by the rules of the game. You are allowed to look at their sideboard by the rules of the game. I think I'm just passing here, right? We played Soul Flare, doing it. I don't want to cast Sylvan Caryatid. So now they get another turn here. So this does actually let them draw an extra card, but we got to deal 4 damage to them and like cast a Soul Flare that's useless, so. Weird. It's almost like they should have conceded in response to that trigger. Strange how that works out. In paper, you actually can't see their sideboard. All right, listen. This isn't the Magic subreddit. If you're gonna tell me I'm wrong about something, you're gonna need to cite a source. So take a 10-minute break, and when you come back, feel free to cite a source. Look at that. Look at that. There you go. See? That's how it goes. Changed in 2016. That was after I stopped following competitive Magic. Look at that. God bless. What a strange change. Seems unnecessary. And there, example JW is exactly how a great example of telling me how I'm wrong. There's a lot of petty assholes out there who are like, Jeff can never accept when he's wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my wife. However, if you want to come into my space and tell me I'm wrong, you better cite a source. That's how you educate. That's how you help people learn and grow. And then this is the part where other petty people who don't understand how information education works go, but Jeff, you're not sitting here citing sources for everything you say. Yeah, this is my stream. I'm the authority figure here. That's how reality works. That's how real life functions. You got him. He's dead. All right, let's draw some lands here. Rough. To be fair and follow the facts, Mathematic, the economy for people who have money has been good in the United States for the last few years. Trump inherited an upward trending economy from Obama. The problem with the economy as it stands is that the current wealth that's enjoyed in the United States does not apply to most of the people in our country. And we're dead. This is double striking and stuff. Can't catch back up. Will do, Polly. If you're someone who's in a position where you don't have actual investments, it's irrelevant to you how well the stock market is doing, which is something a lot of people don't understand. Measuring the success of our country economically based on only what the upper echelon are able to achieve in growth is not a good measurement. One of the things Yang is really good at pointing out is that the average life expectancy in the United States has been trending downward. That is very troubling. That's a more important metric that we should be concerned about, which in large part is due to the awful healthcare system in the United States. I'm doing all right, Tsunami. A little bit better than yesterday, but still not quite 100%. Ilstafabob, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Interesting. Blue-white Darksteel Citadel Thopter. Wonder if they're a scissors deck and what their white card is, if they're a scissors deck. All right, so I feel like there's a chance their deck's playing Stubborn Denial. So rather than run one of my 4-mana cards into potential soft step here, I'm going to go ahead and shock this in and play Rogue Refiner. Oh, they could be an all that glitters deck. That's a good thought. Look at that. We're cooking with gas in chat today. And see, asking yourself questions like that and being familiar with what cards are potentially playable in the format can help you deduce what your opponents are likely to be doing even when they're playing brews, right? Yep, there's scissors. They could be holding up Rebuke there as well. It's a good suggestion. Whirler Virtuoso. Okay, so let's start with this and see where we go. Would not be surprised to get Stubborn Denialed here. Yep, fist pump for having played around the soft stub. Let's shock this in and drop Whirler here. Back again, almost a year. Thanks for the 11 months. Everlife, I appreciate it. Is there a website that trades paper for Moto currency? So my sponsor, MTGO Traders, they have a paper store. I believe they're Cape Fear games. And you can buy list your cards to them and they will turn it into MTGO credit at a bonus. So that is definitely something that MTGO Traders offers. You should look into that. And they have a really good stock usually. I'm gonna take this 5 here. I could make a 1/1 to block, but I don't want to spend my energy just yet because I have Marvel in my hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully we don't die in response here. Gosh, protection from multicolored is so good against our board. That's unreal. Octomono, thank you for the entire year of support. Bunch of new swords today. Zero Valda. Thanks for keeping me around, folks. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. All right, let's start with this. There's a good chance we're dead here. Huh? They probably have Mystic Dispute here, or Metallic Rebuke. I think I'm just supposed to YOLO the Marvel. Another stub, okay. So now my energy is gonna go into Whirler Virtuoso, chump blocking this. So I can make a token and chump block this. We'll take 3 from the Serpent. Please don't glitter me. Please don't glitter me. Please don't glitter me. In Soul. Is that lethal? I think that's lethal, right? Wow, if that ain't the Stone Cold Nuts, I don't know what is. Pioneer is quietly becoming the best format, man. I don't think it's quietly becoming it. I think it's far and away not close to the best format in Magic. Pithy, fuck off. We literally had someone cite a source and I talked about it and then you get all pissy because I missed your specific message. So don't attack me personally and the things that I'm doing and like acting like I'm a liar and I don't actually believe the things I'm saying because you weren't fucking paying attention. Hit the bricks. Take a break. All right, Chandra seems slow and clunky. We're gonna cut her. Emrakul, the Promised End, almost certainly too slow here. I think I'd rather have Ulamog as a spin to win target. You think I want to get rid of Ugin? I think Ugin's fine. So Ugin doesn't get rid of the actual artifacts, but dealing 3 damage should be good on their board a bunch. And exiling all that glitters and Insole should also be relevant. I need one more trim here. Yeah, trimming a Puzzleknot's probably fine. Actually, Rogue Refiner doesn't really block. I'm going to get rid of it. Let's trim one of those. I think I'd rather have this to gain 3 life. Yeah, this is this good enough? It's got a braid, and it's got, like, a tune into a basic. But, like, it's got 2 fatties in the opener, and it doesn't have a marble. I don't know, Stan. I honestly thought that it would be back to the lower price already, but there's such a high demand for Pioneer stuff that people are still submitting stuff. So I've been slowly reducing the queue, but there's still people adding a lot of things. So genuinely don't know. If the queue stays full at tier 3 submissions and $50 submissions, it's never going to reduce back to 25. Oh, blue white control not close. Blue white control was arguably the best deck in Pioneer, or one of the best decks in this format before those bannings, and it's definitely the best deck, one of the best decks after the bannings. I agree, Percy. I agree. I saw I think it was Jim Davis posted his donation deck list rules, and apparently he charges like $80 for a submission. And I was like, gosh, I'm the cheap ride in town. Don't people always hate blue-white control? That's true, but usually blue-white control's not very good. So like, blue-white control in the current format is very, very good. And like, as someone, anybody who's watched my Modern stuff will know, I'll tell you when blue-white control is terrible. The blue-white control in the current Pioneer format is super reasonable. Polly, for reference, if you actually pay attention to my stream, I very rarely skip matches. I also, when people send in big donations, I play all of them. So I don't know. Saying I'm cheaper because I don't actually play your deck, I feel like, is a mischaracterization of what I actually do. Land. All right, did I just start like YOLOing Marvels here? Do I start YOLOing Marvels, or do I just, like, kill a couple other things here first? I schedule for people who send me piles of money. If you send a $50 or more donation, I'm willing to work with you on when your deck gets played. Hmm, 6-mana Chandra is probably a good suggestion. I mean, those aren't the words you said, but that's kind of what it implies, Polly. What was your exact words? I can actually look at your exact words, because we have a log. Your exact words were, Jim guarantees the full 5 matches, so I think it's fair relative price for your slightly different services. And my point was my service is the same. All right. I'm going to get Metallic Rebuked. Stubborn Denial is not currently on. Mystical Disputed. Yep, fair. Hey, thanks for the year and a half, Dougherty. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Am I just jamming? I think we're just jamming. Because I don't really want to spend energy on removal spells if I have Marvels in my hand. For decks that are sent in with the minimum donation amount, I take in time considerations. That is true, I know. Well, we're slowly hitting our land drops here. Yeah, no, they're definitely two different systems. And every streamer should do what works for them. I was just challenging the idea that what I do is some kind of cheaper or different way, or like what you're getting is different. Because, in my opinion, that is not accurate. Or comes from a misunderstanding of what I actually do and how things work. Pete Buttigieg is a very good public speaker. In fact, his ability to be a good public speaker is one of the things that makes him able to peddle bullshit as well as he peddles it. He's a very good corporate Democrat. I think we did, chat. I think we did. My problems with Pete is his opportunistic pivoting. If he had been clear and upfront from the beginning about what his positions were going to be, I wouldn't have a problem with him. He would be like Joe Biden in that I wouldn't want to vote for him because what he's pushing for does not match what I would like to see. That was great. That was great, Sunhouse. We're not bashing Pete. Again, like, and that's part of the problem with discourse in 2019. Talking about what someone has done, and because the things that they have done aren't great, doesn't mean we're bashing them. That's how you have a discussion. It's not bashing to say that Pete opportunistically pivoted his positions when he realized he wasn't winning in the progressive lane. That's just factual. That's what happened. Yeah, maybe this hand was a mulligan. It's got an Emrakul in the opener. It doesn't have red for this. Man, we're really bad about drawing these Marvel hits. Pummeler, okay. Is there a candidate that if they won the nomination, you'd elect not to vote? No, I don't hate women and people who are less privileged than I am enough to not vote Democrat. Abstaining from voting is what a lot of people did in 2016 as their public form of hissy fit. Because a lot of people's lives aren't meaningfully impacted by the election. I think running blue cav is silly, Brad. I think suggesting running blue cav based on us being unlucky is kind of knee-jerky. And no, I don't think the mana base supports it, even if we wanted to, or felt like we needed to. Electing someone like Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg or Amy Klobuchar, a moderate, is effectively like standing still. Electing someone like Donald Trump again is like going backwards. And while standing still wouldn't be ideal, it would definitely be better than going backwards. I assume we're dead here. It's gonna like pump and Temur Battle Rage and kill us. This thing gets to double its power for every 3 energy they pay. So I like Blossoming Defense this, and then pumping up a bunch of Temur Battle Rage to kill us. So they make this 24-24, and then they give it double strike and trample. Not a bad last 4 cards. Is Tulsi a moderate? No. Tulsi, you should look at Tulsi's voting record. If there's one thing I've learned in the last year, it's that literally anyone can declare themselves as a Democrat, even if they're not actually a Democrat, based on what they're voting for and what their principles are. All right, what am I cutting here? Boarding with these decks is always such a challenge. Like, what are we supposed to trim from our engine? I guess, like, this card's not super part of our core, so maybe that's the trim. And, like, it doesn't block super well. If they have Temur Battle Rage. I guess, is Virtuoso better than Rogue Refiner? I guess Rogue Refiner draws a card. Woodweaver's Puzzleknot is kind of slow, but it makes 6 energy. I'm gonna trim the Virtuoso. Let's give this a try. Yeah, Emrakul lets us spend all their energy for sure. They're just playing a Kaladesh Mirror. Also, I should probably make a note to flag this video NSFW language. I've sworn a lot. Normally if I drop 1 or 2, I don't tag it, but there's been a few today. My filter disappears when I'm not feeling well. Cubby Bear. Right on time, servant of the Conduit. Welcome to the party. Do you ever cast a big Eldrazi fairly? Against control decks? Against anything that's like applying a real clock? Probably not. Wonder how aggressive they're going to get with this. They could just pump some energy into it and try and beat us down here. Nope. Just charging their laser here. Just waiting on a Marvel, huh? Yeah. Yeah, in general, I don't have a problem with swearing. I just know that there's a number of parents with small children that tend to watch my content, especially on YouTube. So if there's a number of pieces of language, I like to give them a warning so they're not watching it with their kids around. Or so that if they're watching it with their kids around, they get to make an informed decision about doing that. I try, Cootie. I think we're dead, chat. I guess, and that's why, like, playing decks like this are good and bad at the same time. Like, we're so super far behind here, but, like, I can just, like, rip Marvel and Ulamog them at any point. So, like, I definitely want to hang out. Why do we protect our children from swear words? Because when your 4-year-old drops an F-bomb at daycare or your 5-year-old does it at kindergarten, the teacher gets upset. You protect them from those words because they don't understand that they shouldn't be saying them at certain points. And I'm definitely not saying that because my 4-year-old has dropped an F-bomb at daycare. That definitely never happened. I would like the record to reflect. I don't know if it says anything about me at a parent that, like, when the teacher told me, I was like, did he use it contextually correct? And she paused and was like, yes, he used it contextually correct. And I was like, well, you know, at least he's got that going for him. Oh. Let's try one more. Let's spin to win. I do enjoy gambling. This one's going pretty quick. I've only been playing for 50 minutes. I agree with that completely, Admain. Society has it backwards when it comes to swears and slurs. We're too forgiving of the latter and care too much about the former. Completely agree. Context is important. And slurs are awful. Much, much worse than swears. They serve to demean people who come from groups of people who already have things not great. All right, so I got to put back 2 cards. This hand's obviously great. The question is, what are we throwing back? I think it's Chandra Harness Lightning. Hey, Jackal Girl. You know, we actually played, one of the last Modern decks we played was actually Blue Blackmail. I was thinking about you. Hope life has been okay. Quicken. So probably Drake's. Yeah, we've been mostly off Modern here as well. I've got like 1 more in the queue, and then we're mostly done. Been mostly all in on Pioneer, and been dabbling in Historic. Historic's been fun. Hey, thanks for the tip, Phoenix. I appreciate it. Want to say I appreciate you being here even if you're a little bit sick. Thanks for the content. Here's some more stories of contextually correct swear words. Well, they haven't ditched a bird yet. That's good for us. I'm just going to go ahead and lead on Rogue Refiner here. Magic Online, much like Magic Arena, doesn't let you assign a default basic land type. So, if I'm in a hurry putting decks together the night before, I often forget to switch the basics when I import a deck. Grixis Dragons, yeah, definitely Phoenix Lands. Get that in after we're done today. A Night Rises, Raz. I'll be here tomorrow. Also, well, it's not, maybe I shouldn't say it because it's not 100%, but it's like 95%. I think, so I'm taking off Christmas Eve and Christmas next week, but I think the week of New Year's, my wife is going to take the kids up to stay with my mother-in-law for a week. And I think we're going to do a bunch of long streams that week of New Year's while they're gone. Maybe we'll try and run like 5, 10 to 12 hour days in a row and see how it goes. It's been a while since we've done a bunch. No, I don't do 24-hour streams because 24-hour streams suck. But like doing a bunch of 12ers in a row is fine. You just like order takeout and stream a bunch of Magic. You know, I'm actually going to be done with this deck. This deck's real medium. I don't think it's a mistake that the Zombies deck is gas. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it. There's a lot of sweet decks up on the website, for sure. As a quick general note, they banned 2 cards in Pioneer, and I already updated or removed decks that had those banned cards in them on my website. So as always, if you're looking for up-to-date, current, standard, Pioneer, or historic deck lists, you can always find those on my website. As far as this deck is concerned, what I talked about at the start of the league I think is definitely true. If you look at this archetype, the core of this main deck, there really aren't cards that weren't in the standard legal deck. And these energy archetypes just are required to play so many energy cards to make these synergies playable that the fact that these cards haven't gotten better, but other cards have gotten better, like Eldraine cards, for example, is just such a good example of how the power level is contextual to the format in which they're being played. And I'd be surprised, unless we get another strong energy set, if archetypes like this will ever be very competitive in Pioneer. I also think these are a great example of, if they have Kaladesh and Amonkhet in these sets capable of putting back into Arena easily, I think all of these sets would be really good additions to Historic without screwing the format up, really, because I think a lot of these cards just aren't above the power level of the recent standard sets. I think they would just give us a bunch of interesting cards to add to the format without like really being any more overbearing than anything else that's going on. All right, so every day this week, we're going to be doing 2 or 3 Pioneer decks to start off. So even though this one was a bit of a mess, we've got a second deck coming up here. We're going to go ahead and rock some green-black Explore here. A little bit of a rock mid-range deck. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for this one. But when we get back, we're going to have another Pioneer League. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Hope you're having a great Tuesday wherever you're at in the world.